Starting our list at number 10 is the Benelli Leoncino 800 Trail. Weighing in at a hefty 234 kilograms, this is clearly a scrambler that feels more at home on asphalt than being wrestled out of a muddy ditch. But let's be honest, looks matter, and the Leoncino absolutely delivers. Those beautifully tucked high-mounted exhausts alone are reason enough for this bike to earn its place on the list. Power comes from a 754cc parallel twin engine, producing 75 horsepower at a rev-happy 8,500 revolutions per minute, along with around 50 pound-feet of torque at 6,500 revolutions per minute. It's a lively motor that gives the Leoncino a sporty edge, especially on twisty roads. Backed by QJ Motor, the same Chinese giant behind Morbidelli and several other major brands, Benelli has built a solid reputation in the UK for reliability and parts availability. The suspension and electronics may feel a little basic compared to more premium rivals, but that's part of the appeal. Great value, strong performance, and arguably a more authentic Scrambler spirit with less tech getting in the way. At number 9, we have one of the most authentic modern scramblers on the market, the BSA Scrambler 650. This bike delivers full-on 1960s vibes, and that's no accident. BSA was right there at the birth of the original Scrambler movement in the 1950s and 60s. Visually, it absolutely nails the rugged look. Chunky Pirelli Scorpion STR tires, a 19-inch front wheel, bash plate, fork gaiters, and a high-mounted front mudguard all scream dirt road credibility. Power comes from a liquid-cooled 652cc single-cylinder DOHC engine originally developed for the BMW F 650 Funduro, which means it's no stranger to rough surfaces. It delivers a great sound and plenty of low-end pull where it really counts. There are clear signs of cost-cutting in fit and finish, which may discourage some riders from pushing it too hard off-road. But that compromise is exactly what allows the Scrambler 650 to come in at such an attractive price. For riders chasing character and heritage over perfection, this one delivers big smiles. Coming in at number 8 is the Husqvarna Svartpilen 801. From the saddle, there's very little to dislike here. It's instantly approachable, easy to ride, and feels comfortable across a wide range of speeds and riding situations. Everything about it feels solid, well-built, and thoughtfully designed. Compared to its KTM 790 Duke cousin, the Svartpilen has a calmer, more considered personality. That relaxed character makes it feel more versatile, more usable day-to-day, and far less obsessed with constantly chasing adrenaline. Now let's be clear, this isn't a scrambler in the purest traditional sense. But when it comes to real-world scrambling ability, it's no less capable than several bikes on this list. So yes, we're bending the rules slightly, but the Svartpilen earns its place through sheer rideability and attitude. At number 7 sits the Fantic Caballero 700, a scrambler that brings serious premium credentials to the mid-capacity class. Powered by the same legendary engine found in the Yamaha MT-07, it combines proven performance with unmistakable Italian flair. High-quality components are everywhere. Marzocchi suspension, Brembo brakes, and an impressive amount of CNC machined billet aluminum give the Caballero 700 a level of finish that wouldn't look out of place in a Bimota showroom. It's built for riders who appreciate detail as much as dirt. Crucially, this is one of the few bikes on the list that's genuinely just as capable off-road as it is on the road. So why isn't it higher? The answer is simple: price. At just under £10,000, it's edging dangerously close to the cost of the Scrambler 1200, a bike built by a global heavyweight with an enormous dealer network. Still, there's no denying it. The Fantic Caballero 700 is a beautifully made, highly capable scrambler and an absolute joy to ride. At number 6, we arrive at one of the most controversial bikes on this list, the BMW R12G/S. Is it a scrambler, or is it an adventure bike? That debate is wide open. BMW itself uses the R12G/S as the weapon of choice for its famously demanding GS trophy competition. Still, we're leaning toward calling it a scrambler, at least in spirit. BMW has been shaping the modern retro scrambler class ever since the R9T burst onto the scene back in 2014. That bike set the standard by blending modern performance and engineering with timeless, heritage-inspired design, all wrapped in one of the most desirable badges in motorcycling. The R12G/S pushes that idea even further by paying homage to the legendary R80G/S, arguably the bike that kicked off the entire modern adventure motorcycle craze. The styling, stance, and intent all echo that iconic machine, blurring the line between Scrambler and ADV in a very deliberate way. Yes, its 229-kilogram wet weight may raise a few eyebrows, but BMW has a long history of making heavy bikes surprisingly manageable on loose surfaces. Whether you call it a scrambler or an adventure bike, one thing is clear. The R12G/S carries serious heritage and serious capability. At number 5 sits a true modern classic, the Ducati Scrambler icon. An oldie, but very much a goodie. Not long ago, Ducati introduced the second-generation version of its fun, funky, and slightly rebellious retro roadster. With a full generation under its belt, the MK2 Scrambler doesn't try to reinvent the formula. Instead, Ducati focused on refining what already worked, freshening up the playful image while quietly improving build quality and specifications. At launch, 3 distinct versions were offered: the flat-track-inspired full throttle, the understated and stylish night shift, and this, the cheekiest of them all, the Scrambler icon. Positioned directly against the Triumph Scrambler 900 and priced almost identically at £9, $995, it delivers that unmistakable mix of classic proportions and unmistakable Italian flair, especially if you opt for one of the more eye-catching color options. On the road, the 803cc engine produces 72 horsepower. It's not about outright performance, but it feels lively, eager, and light on its feet. Add a smooth, light clutch, and you've got a scrambler that's perfectly at home slicing through city traffic just as much as cruising country lanes. Just missing out on the podium at number 4 is the Triumph Scrambler 900. Triumph is, without question, the market leader when it comes to modern retro motorcycles, and for good reason. The British brand effectively defined the modern scrambler segment with its first Bonneville-based scrambler back in 2008. It then reinforced that dominance in 2016 with the launch of the Street Scrambler, based on the all-new 900cc Street Twin Bonneville platform, now rebranded as the Scrambler 900. Despite the name change, the Scrambler 900 remains true to its roots. It retains the same instantly recognizable styling, excellent build quality, and authentic retro feel. Power comes from a relaxed but punchy 64-horsepower engine, now paired with switchable riding modes and updated instruments introduced in 2019. There's even an A2 license-compliant version available, making it accessible to a wider range of riders. If you're looking for an easygoing scrambler with timeless style, everyday usability, and arguably the most definitive badge in the category, the Triumph Scrambler 900 remains one of the strongest choices you can make. At number 3, we have Honda's latest addition to its ever-reliable 500 family, the Honda CL 500. This is the bike that quietly tempts you away from the more sensible but admittedly more vanilla CB 500F. True to Honda form, the CL 500 is handsome without shouting about it. Understated, clean, and well-proportioned, it looks like the Rebel finally grew up, standing taller, rolling on chunkier, more rugged tires, and filling out in all the right places. Impressively, the fit and finish feel better than its very reasonable price tag would suggest. Power comes from Honda's proven 471cc parallel twin, producing 46 horsepower. That may not sound dramatic, but paired with a very usable 191-kilogram weight, it gives the CL 500 lively handling and a nimble, confidence-inspiring feel, especially in urban environments. That said, this isn't a true dirt-focused scrambler. The rugged look is largely cosmetic, and it's not designed for serious off-road work. But as long as the trails remain gentle, the CL 500 delivers fantastic value. At just 5,999 pounds, it's well-built, easy to ride, and undeniably fun. Taking second place is the long-awaited Royal Enfield Bear 650. And it's a bike many riders had been waiting for ever since Royal Enfield's 650 parallel twin platform first arrived. Styling is unmistakably Royal Enfield, yet the Bear manages to stand apart from its 650 siblings. It feels familiar but distinct, more purposeful, more rugged, and more Scrambler-inspired in its stance. Positioned firmly on the street Scrambler side of the spectrum, the Bear 650 is best described as a soft roader. It can handle dusty fire roads and light trails, but push it harder and you'll quickly find the limits of the suspension and chassis. A set of knobbly tires would help, but realistically, this is a bike that's happiest staying out of the woods. Thankfully, none of that takes away from how good the Bear 650 is on the road. The handling is confident, the power delivery is relaxed and easy-going, and the build quality is genuinely impressive for the price. It may not be the most hardcore Scrambler, but it's an incredibly likable one. And taking the top spot, number 1, is the Triumph Scrambler 1200. Many of us thought Triumph already had the Scrambler category covered with the 900, but in 2019, the Hinckley brand raised the bar with something bigger, bolder, and genuinely off-road capable. For 2026, Triumph updates the Scrambler 1200 lineup, now offered in 2 versions, the X and the XE. With the Scrambler 1200X, you still get Marzocchi suspension front and rear, but with less travel and no adjustability compared to the XE. Surprisingly, that turns out to be a good thing. On the road, the suspension feels more supportive, more controlled, and far less wallowy, giving the rider greater confidence and composure. The X also gains a 6-axis IMU for the first time, enabling cornering ABS and lean-sensitive traction control. The updated engine delivers a broader spread of power too, with peak torque arriving 250 revolutions per minute earlier than before, making it even more flexible and usable in real-world riding. If serious off-roading is your priority, the XE still makes sense. But for everything else, for balance, control, technology, and everyday rideability, the Scrambler 1200X is where you want to be. And that's why it sits proudly at number 1,